let's talk about, let's say that you do have someone that you've, had in your circle in some way or another. You found out that they have RSPs, would like to use their RSPs. What's the first thing that you say to them so that they kind of understand the process of it in a really simple, high level, uncomplicated way? How do you explain it at the very beginning?
We actually have a document that we share, like a white paper that we drafted, that just explains just what real estate is, some of the really basic stuff about real estate, and how they can play in that realm without, dealing with tenants and toilets, and how, again, the main thing is being able to help them with their retirement income as well. Because that's always what gets them, is the fact that they are getting such crappy returns. And I could give you examples after examples, of people that we've talked to. And like one woman who thought she was getting 5%. I met her in a bathroom. I was washing my hands in a hotel. And she turns around to me, she says, I just got my statement. I think I did 5%. Is that good? Total stranger, right? We're not even there at the same event. And I thought, that's kind of odd. But anyways, I said, listen, if you want, I could answer some more questions, but here's my number. If you want, give me a call tomorrow. And she did. When I asked, she had put $60,000 in an RSP the year before. It's the first time she had put money in mutual funds. And now she had her first year statement without adding any extra money in. And she says, I think I did 5%. And I asked her, do you have a calculator? She says, yes. I said, do 60,000 times 5%. For those of you math whizzes right now, you should have come up with 3,000. So I said, what does your statement say? And she said, 60,200. And then she got very quiet. And then she got mad. So again, if you do the calculation, she did 0.033 on her mutual funds. Now, when people understand what exactly they're getting, do you think it makes them more prone to know that there's a better way that they can do this? Absolutely. So we share that.
That's one of the first things you do, is find out from them, like have them get their statement out, take a peek and see what they're actually getting. Yeah, brilliant. Just before we go too far, Melanie's asking, how exactly did you calculate that return again?
If you remember that this is return on investment, is the easiest way to remember how to do the math. So your return, which in the case of the lady that was talking with Denise was $200 on over the investment. So it's divided by the $60,000. So 200 over 60,000, and then multiply it by 100 so you can express it as a percentage.
When you actually had her take out her statements and you said, okay, you've got 60 grand, so a 5% return would be, and it didn't all add up. That's just a beautiful, easy way of getting people to kind of go, oh, crap, what the heck? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that happens all the time. I had somebody else who thought they had done 14%. 14% is what they thought. Guess what? When I looked at their statement, 0.66% on one statement, negative 0.24 on the other statement. And she thought she had done 14. Usually my very first question that I ask people is when they tell me they did a certain percentage with their mutual funds or stocks, whatever they have, right? From their statement, I said, is that the fund or is that you? And they go, what? They don't understand the difference. I said, the fund maybe did 14%, but did you?
Right.
And usually the answer is absolutely not.
Yeah. And do you want to explain the difference between that? Because that's a good point. So the difference between how the fund did versus how you do.
Yes, because when the fund is, because they tell them, it actually is in the statement, hey, 14%. So they think they did 14%. The average person does not know how to look at their statement, how to read it, to know where to look to really figure out, okay, I got this much money. If I do times 14%, is that where I was before? They don't know how to do that. They just look at a number and that statement says 14%, but it just is not there.
Up until 2 years ago, there was no obligation on the financial institutions to report what's called a management expense ratio, an MER. And those are the fees. I mean, if you're going to give your money to somebody and ask them to manage it, they're going to charge you a fee for that. And that's to be expected. Same in real estate.
One of the fees they charge.
I mean, in real estate, depending on the agreement you have, if you're the silent money partner and you just want to give your money to somebody, you can't expect a 50-50 split on the returns coming out of that investment. So the same thing happens in mutual funds. The big thing is that if you've got $100,000 invested in a fund, the management exchange ratio, the management fees are charged on the full $100,000 value of your investment. So even if the fund does a return before the money goes into your account, the management company takes their share out. And I saw a great calculation once of $100,000 invested at 8% over 25 years. And then a side-by-side comparison with $100,000 invested in a mutual fund at a 2.5% management fee over that same 25 years, returning an average of 8%. Basically, what happened is with the management fee over the 25 years, it ate up half of the returns.
Yeah. Okay. So the big difference between the fund making money, sure thing, but then how much actually equated to back to your account is minus the fees, minus even some people, all kinds of different fees that can come out of there. So that's the biggest difference.